Long ago, in a wide green forest filled with tall trees, singing birds, and quiet paths, there lived a crow named Kala. Kala was clever in many ways, but like many young crows, he felt proud when others noticed him. He loved shiny things, loud praise, and the feeling of being admired. Every morning, Kala flew high above the forest to look for food, and every evening he rested on the tallest tree near the river. One bright morning, the forest smelled fresh after the night rain. Kala flew far and wide, and finally found a big piece of cheese near a village path. It was yellow, soft, and smelled rich and delicious. Kala felt lucky and excited. He quickly picked it up with his beak and flew to his favorite tree. He sat on a strong branch, holding the cheese carefully, and thought about how good it would taste. At the same time, a fox named Renu was walking slowly through the forest. Renu was thin, hungry, and always thinking. He had sharp eyes, quick feet, and a clever mind. That morning he had not found any food, and his stomach growled as he walked. When he looked up, he saw Kala sitting high on the branch with a big piece of cheese in his beak. Renu stopped and smiled to himself. He knew he could not climb the tall tree, and he knew the crow's beak was strong. But Renu also knew something else. He knew that words could be more powerful than strength. He decided to use his clever speech instead of force. Renu sat down under the tree and looked up at Kala with wide, admiring eyes. He spoke softly at first, as if talking to himself. "What a beautiful bird," he said. "I have never seen such shiny black feathers in my life." Kala heard the fox's voice and felt pleased. He stood taller on the branch and puffed out his chest. Still, he said nothing because he did not want to drop his cheese. Renu continued, a little louder now. "Surely a bird with such bright feathers must also have a sweet and powerful voice. The forest would be lucky to hear such a song." Kala felt his heart grow warm. No one had ever praised him like this before. He forgot his hunger for a moment and thought only about how wonderful it would be to impress the fox. He looked down proudly, but still stayed silent. Renu was patient. He smiled and bowed slightly. "O great crow," he said, "I have traveled through many forests, but I have never heard a voice as famous as yours. If you sing even one small note, my day will be complete." Kala could not resist any more. His pride was stronger than his caution. He opened his beak to sing. The moment he did, the piece of cheese fell from his mouth, dropped through the air, and landed straight into Renu's waiting paws. The fox quickly grabbed the cheese and laughed. "Thank you for the meal," he said. "Remember this lesson, Crow. Do not trust sweet words too easily." Kala watched sadly as the fox walked away. He felt foolish and ashamed. The branch that once felt proud now felt cold and empty. He had lost his food because of his pride. That evening, Kala flew to a quiet part of the forest and thought deeply about what had happened. He realized that clever words can hide selfish plans, and praise is not always honest. He promised himself to be wiser in the future. The next morning, Kala awoke early. He felt hungry, but also determined to learn. As he flew over the forest again, he noticed many small details he had ignored before. He saw ants working together, squirrels storing food carefully, and old birds teaching young ones how to survive. He understood that wisdom grows slowly through experience and listening. Later that day, Kala met an old owl named Soma, who lived in a hollow tree. Soma was known for his calm voice and thoughtful advice. Kala told him the whole story, being embarrassed but honest. Soma listened quietly and then said, "Pride can close our ears, but mistakes can open our eyes. You have learned an important lesson today. Remember it, and you will grow stronger." Kala thanked the owl and flew away feeling lighter. He knew his journey was not over. The forest was full of lessons, and this was only the beginning. The days passed, and Kala, the crow, did not forget the lesson he had learned. Each morning, when he flew out to find food, he reminded himself to be careful, to listen more, and to think before acting. Slowly, his shame turned into wisdom, and his pride became quieter. One afternoon, as the sun was warm and the forest was calm, Kala found another piece of food near the riverbank. This time, it was not cheese, but a piece of bread. He picked it up and flew to a medium-height tree, not too high and not too low. He remembered how being too proud had once caused him trouble. As fate would have it, the same fox, Renu, was walking through the forest again. When he looked up and saw Kala with food in his beak, his eyes shone with the same clever hunger. He smiled and walked closer, already planning his sweet words. "Oh, what a fine day," Renu said in a friendly voice, "and what a fine crow sits above me. Your feathers look even brighter than before." Kala felt the praise touch his ears, but this time it did not reach his heart. He stayed silent and held the bread firmly in his beak. Renu continued, "I still remember your wonderful voice. The forest has been so quiet without your song. Would you honor me by singing once more?" Kala looked down at the fox. Instead of opening his beak, he simply stared. He remembered the empty branch, the lost cheese, and the laughter of the fox. Slowly, he shook his head. Renu tried again, changing his tone. "I only ask because I admire you," he said. "A great bird like you should never hide his talents." Kala finally understood the truth. Praise without honesty is a trap. He turned his head away and stayed quiet. Seeing that his plan had failed, the fox's smile faded. He realized that the crow was no longer the same foolish bird. With an unhappy look, the fox walked away, still hungry. Kala felt proud, but this time it was a calm and gentle pride. He ate his food peacefully and felt strong, not because of praise, but because of self-control. That evening, Kala flew to the old owl Soma and shared what had happened. The owl nodded slowly and said, "You have learned to guard not only your food, but also your mind. That is true wisdom." From that day on, Kala became a respected bird in the forest. Younger crows listened to his advice, and he warned them about trusting flattering words. He taught them to value actions over speech and wisdom over pride. Renu, the fox, on the other hand, learned that clever tricks do not work forever. Animals who learn from mistakes grow stronger, and tricks lose their power over them. As seasons changed, the forest remained full of life and lessons. Kala lived a long and peaceful life, always careful, always thoughtful, and always wiser than before. So, what is the moral of the story? Do not trust empty praise or sweet words. True wisdom comes from thinking carefully and learning from mistakes. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to English Minded for more content. See you in the next one.